What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Countdown Scouting Network. I'm your host, Joey Garcia, as always, and today we are going to go over the Las Vegas Raiders 2023 NFL Draft Class, give them a grade per person, get you guys familiar with these prospects. Let's go. First round, seventh overall pick. They took Tyree Wilson, the defensive lineman from Texas Tech. He mostly plays edge, but I think he can play all the way down the line. He's super strong and physical. I think this was an okay pick. Um, you really want to get him around pick 20, but this is the best they could do. And again, he could turn into a really special player. I think he's just a little raw. He's not super twitchy or explosive. Again, he's 6'6", 270 pounds. So he has trouble bending the edge a little bit. And I think he just needs to get some more pass rush moves. If he can get that, he's strong enough where he can hold the point of attack and he can bull rush. But if we can get some more finesse moves in there, I think he's going to be really solid. And again, he's got Max Crosby and I think Chandler Jones is still there too. So he's got some guys to teach him some things. Their next pick, second round pick, 35 overall. They took Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame. I love this. This was my tight end 3, but I still had a first round grade on him. That's how good this tight end class was. He's 6'5", 250 pounds. He's a solid blocker. He can step in immediately and be not a liability in the run game. He runs solid routes. He's got really good ball skills. The only knock on him is that they say his ankles are a little weak, and you can kind of tell he's stiff on some of his routes, and after the catch, he doesn't really make change of direction that much. But he's not a great athlete, but he's an all-around tight end, and he's someone that's going to step in day one and going to get 100 targets, even with Devontae Adams there. So I like this pick a lot. The next pick, you got Byron Young, not the Byron Young edge rusher from Tennessee, but the Byron Young defensive lineman from Alabama. He's 6'3", 295 pounds. Really good run defender, especially from the 3 technique. If you put him as a 3 tech and not a nose, he's going to bully the crap out of your guards, man. Especially if you're not double teaming with tackles, he's just going to run straight through you. He anchors well against double teams, even if he lines up in that 1 technique and he's getting doubled by the guard center combo. He's strong and will hold the point of attack. Again, he's strong enough where he can hold up a guy in 2 gap if you want to ask him to 2 gap. The only thing is his pass rush moves aren't really there. He doesn't really do much in the pass rush other than kind of just try to plow straight through. That's something that he can kind of work on, but I think he's going to be a plug-and-play day one kind of guy. He just doesn't really give you much other than hold your ground and plug gaps, which is perfect. It helps out your linebackers, but he's not going to be a stat guy year one, so I thought it was a little bit of a reach. Their next third-round pick 100, they got Trey Tucker, the wide receiver from Cincinnati. He's 5'9", 185 pounds, and he's extremely explosive. Him and his running mate, Tyler Scott from Cincinnati, both super explosive athletes. He's got really good hands, and he's a playmaker in space. Again, he needs to diversify that route tree. And Cincinnati, they kind of just chucked him up, ran a bunch of bubbles with him and his running mate, Tyler Scott, obviously. Both just run verticals, basically, and let's just throw it up. Who's going to beat who, and then throw it up to them. That's kind of the offense they ran. And I think he's going to have difficulty beating press a little bit, especially with his size. He didn't really get pressed too much at Cincinnati. So, but all in all, I think this is a good pick. Someone that you can put in the slot day one and work with Hunter Renfrow and Devontae Adams, and then you also have Michael Mayer underneath as well too. So I like that pick a lot. The next pick, Jacorian Bennett, cornerback from Maryland. He's 5'11", 190 pounds, and this dude is a versatile machine. He kind of reminds me, I don't want to say that, but whatever, I'll say it. The way that he's used, or the way that he was used, is kind of the way that Jalen Ramsey was used at the Rams. I don't mean he's going to be as good as Jalen Ramsey, but I mean you can line him up in the slot. You can line him up on the outside, shadowing the number one guy. You can put him at free safety sometimes. Put him at that rover role where he kind of just kind of is just a robber, and jumping down into some zones over the middle of the field. He just plays everywhere. Obviously, I say obviously. He's a good tackler for his size. I don't think he's a great tackler, but he does enough. He's very instinctual, and that's obviously why he can play all over the back end. Um, his long speed is something to be desired, but I think he's good enough where it's not going to be too much of a concern the at the next level. He does tend to grab. He's probably for the first couple years, he's probably going to get a lot of pass interference penalties, and he might get burnt on some routes with some of the better route runners in the NFL. But he's going to grow into it, and I think he's going to be a really good defender. In their fourth round, they took Aiden O'Connell, quarterback from Purdue. Yeah, he's a solid quarterback, I think. He doesn't have the best arm. His decision making is just, I would say, it's average. I think you're really taking him to be a backup to play 2 games a year if Jimmy Garoppolo goes down. That's kind of what you're hoping. But he's a tough guy, and he's a good leader. I think he's someone that can develop into being a pretty good, if not great, backup quarterback. And it'll just be one of those guys that is constantly, constantly getting new contracts. And if he plays for 2 or 3, kind of like Ryan Fitzpatrick, he plays for 2, 3, 4 games. You're like, hey, I like this guy. We can stay afloat with this guy. So I thought it was a fine pick. 4th round, getting a backup quarterback that you want to be able to develop. Good for you. 5th round pick. I don't know how I didn't make this my favorite 5th round pick in the entire draft. At 170, they got Christopher Smith II, safety from Georgia. He's 5'11", 192, and he is super, super instinctual. He's all over the field. He flies around. He knows what the quarterback's thinking. He's position versatile. He can play nickel. He can play up top. He can play in the box. I don't think he can play outside, but he can play all over. He's not a cover 2 only cover 2 only safety. He can play single high. He can play cover 3. He can play man to man if you want to put him on a tight end. He can do it. He's not the best tackler, obviously, but man, this dude's all over the field, all over the ball. So I like this pick a lot. 5th round, I don't know how that happened. I thought, he'd be more of a 3rd round guy. So I love that pick. 6th round pick, they got Amari Burney, linebacker from Florida. I gave this a B+. I think he's automatically going to be a special teams player for you. He's 6'2", 228 pounds. He's not a true linebacker. He's more of a cover linebacker. You drop him out into space. He's a leader. He's instinctual. He can tackle well. He's not going to play the mic for you. He can blitz. He can cover tight ends, and that's about it. He doesn't do well against man-to-man, obviously, so covering tight ends is about all he can do. You saw him get burnt a couple times against Brock Bowers in that Georgia game, and he's just an average athlete for being 6'2", 228 pounds. But he'll play special teams. He's a hard worker, and he's instinctual. He finds a way to be in the play somehow. I can't really explain it. And then Nesta Jade Silvera. That's Nesta. He's not Nests. Spell check messed me up on that, so whoopsie. 7th round pick is absurd for a guy like him. 6'2", 305 pounds. He's twitchy and he's strong at the point of attack. He's gonna I think he'll step in day one and be a 1st and 2nd down defender. I keep saying obviously. He can't pass rush right now, but he is going to gap. He's going to clog gaps, man. He's a run defender first, and I really understand how he got to the 7th round, other than defensive tackles that can't pass rush are not really cared about. Maybe, I guess that's what it is. So we just wrapped up the AFC West with the Las Vegas Raiders. Go ahead and leave a like and drop down in the comments below if you disagree with some of my takes on here. Tomorrow, because we're going to keep this thing rolling every single day, tomorrow we will be going over the Jacksonville Jaguars and starting the AFC South. So, thank you guys for watching. Peace.